They give you $1,000 cash, a MacBook Pro, and a one-way ticket home. So I decided to move to the mainland US. I landed in California in LA at midnight with my bag and my money, and I checked into a backpacker motel. Yeah.
What were those first few weeks like? I mean, are you hitting the casinos, hitting the strip clubs?
Strip clubs, casinos, hookahs, drugs. To find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And if you can go into your subconscious and create a pattern, infuse it with energy that's vibrating at a certain frequency, you can attract things of a similar nature to it. I always tell entrepreneurs to look at energy the same way they look at money. It's a finite resource that needs to be wisely managed, wisely reallocated, and wisely invested. So they always imagine that they'll live forever. But if you knew life was finite, you start making tough decisions. You become good at whatever you practice. And practice also doesn't have the ability to discriminate between what's good and not good for you. So when you have an intense experience in your life, you could say your subconscious mind is heating up. And it's a beautiful opportunity to reshape it. My goal was to take the $1,000 that I had and create a life from it. And not to borrow any money, because I felt that if I borrowed money now, I'd always know how to borrow money. If I knew how to make money, then I'd always know how to make money.
Hi, it's Brian Rose from London Real. You probably know that we've just recently been re-platformed on YouTube after 25 months completely in the dark. The truth is, I really need your help. What I really need you to do is click on that subscribe button right now, like this video, and maybe even leave a comment or share the link with friends. We're really fighting against an algorithm that's tried to keep us quiet for so long. And the more subscribers we have, the more people watch our content, the better guests we can bring you, the better content, and we can continue transforming lives. We've been doing this for 14 years now. I want to do this for another 14 years, but I really need your help. So click on that subscribe button, like the video, leave a comment, share this, and we're going to continue to bring you more and more great content. Thank you.
This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is Dandapani, the Hindu priest, speaker, and entrepreneur. After graduating university with a degree in electrical engineering, you left it all behind to become a monk under the guidance of one of Hinduism's foremost spiritual leaders of our time, Sivaya Subramuni Yaswami. For 10 years, you lived a life of serious personal discipline and training at your guru's cloistered monastery in Hawaii. 8 years ago, you decided to venture out to teach your lessons in New York City and the rest of the world and make your spiritual tools applicable in everyday life. Dandapani, welcome to London Real.
Thank you, Brian. I really appreciate it, having me on here on your show.
It's an honor to have you here. I was joking with the guys before that I think it was like 18 months ago. You, me, and Esther Perel were cooking food in a kitchen in Napa Valley.
Yes.
What a scene that was, right?
I know. What a great conversation, too.
Right. Yeah, and we had a crazy conversation and dinner afterwards, and that's how I met you and Joe DeSena and Phil McKernan all through that event. So I'm just really glad to have you here.
Yeah, great to connect again.
Yeah, and I really knew it was important to have you on. I'm sure you meet people all the time that want to spend more time with you. And so there's this sense about you that I just want to get to know you better and listen to you a little bit more, even though you don't have any kind of air that I need to listen to you, but it seems like you have some knowledge. And so that's kind of what I wanted to have you on the show.
Oh, thank you.
That intro probably threw people a bunch of curveballs because that's quite a story. Yeah. But when you hear something like that, what do you remember? I mean, as far as growing up and that whole path that led you to Hawaii?
I would say the biggest thing is that I was very clear at an early age what I wanted to do. I had wanted to be a monk since I was about 4 or 5 years old. And ever since then, it was really a quest to find a teacher that could train me. And I met many wonderful teachers along the way, many gurus and monks, and I went and listened to them talk. And I'd always leave saying, I'm going to do everything they told me to do, which I did for about 4 or 5 days. And then all the inspiration, motivation went away, and I'd default back to who I was. And that's where the problem was. I couldn't sustain the change that I wanted. It wasn't until I met my guru, Subramuni Yaswami, and you said his name really well, by the way.
Thank you, I practiced.
Or Guru Deva, as we call him, which is, and it wasn't until I met him that I finally met someone that had really simple, practical tools and had a very systematic approach to spiritual growth and personal development, and very goal-oriented approach as well. And I loved his teachings, so I decided I'll be a monk in his monastery.
Okay. Now, go back to 4 years old. How do you know at 4 that you want to become a monk? Because there's not really the monk cartoon, the monk action movie. So how did you know?
That was Kung Fu with David Carradine.
Yeah, true. Did you watch that when you were a kid?
I did watch that when I was a kid, but I was a bit older then. But no, actually, we lived in Malaysia, and a Sri Lankan monk had visited our home, and my mom invited him in, and traditionally in our culture, we would give a monk some clothes and some money and some food, and then, wish him well on his way. And as soon as I saw him, I said to myself, that's me. And I really recognized the robes he was wearing, the markings on his head, the beads, and everything about him just resonated with me. And he was my fireman. Like kids grow up and say, like, I want to be a fireman, or I want to be this. And that's everything about him just stood out to me, and I said, that's me.
What do you think attracted you to him? Was it a peacefulness about him, or the fact that he wasn't chasing after certain goals?
I don't think any of that. I think it was just more the his dress, and I think what it did was it triggered a memory of a past life. I believe in reincarnation, and I believe I must have been a monk in a past life, either once or twice or many times before, and that's why it was so easy for me to want to become a monk at such a young age. But it wasn't until I was actually a little bit older, I think I was 8 or 9 years old, that I realized it wasn't really about being a monk. It was about enlightenment, and that was what I was seeking. The monk was the quickest or most efficient pathway to enlightenment. So the initial trigger was reminding me of the path that I was dedicated to, or am dedicated to. But the goal really wasn't to be a monk. The goal was enlightenment. And that came about because I realized at an early age of, maybe 8, 9 years old, that everything in life is transitory. Everything goes through a process of being created, exists for a while, and then it goes away. Yeah.
That's the enlightenment alarm.
I love it.
It goes off in about 5 or 10 seconds. So.
No worries.
The enlightenment alarm.
That's right.
Stopped.
Enlightenment alarm. So we are enlightened officially now.
I love that. This is a sign, is all I've got to say.
It's a good sign.
I think we were talking about, you knew you were going to become a monk because of former lives.
Yes, and also the point that I think, it wasn't really about being a monk, but at the end of the day, it was enlightenment I was looking for, because one of the things I realized in an early age that everything in life is transitory in nature. So things are created, things exist for a while, and then things go away. And I remember when I was about 8 or 9, my parents were taking me to my cousin's house for the birthday party. Very excited about it, get to see my cousins and balloons and cakes and play. Get in the car, driving over there, super excited, played for 4 or 5 hours, get in the car, driving home. I remember looking out the window and going, it's over. And this is life. Everything goes through this cycle. I remember I was about 8 or 9, looking out the window very clearly one night, and just in the car as my dad was driving us home, and going like, this is it. Everything is created, everything exists for a while, and then everything goes away. What's the constant in life? Because if we're just here on this planet to go through that cycle, and I go like, that's a waste of time. It really is. So what's the constant in life? What is it in life that doesn't change? And I wanted to find that. And that was really the quest of my spiritual path.
Do you think it's rare for young men like yourself to be seeking enlightenment? Or are people seeking it in all sorts of ways? They don't even know that they are sometimes. Yeah,
I don't think it's rare. It's rare if you believe there's only one life. Because then who's calling the shots, right? Why is one kid searching enlightenment and another kid searching something else? But if you believe in the process of reincarnation, that we're a soul living in a physical body, reincarnating, evolving over a long period of time, then one soul has just pursued a particular path and gone down it further than another person has. So for me, it's just the natural next step.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't make me any more special than the next person.
Okay.
It's just what I've decided to focus on. So I've just picked up where I left off from my previous life and just kept going.
Okay. So that was 8 or 9.
Yeah.
You were in Malaysia at the time?
I was in Malaysia, yep.
Okay.
And then my family migrated to Australia when I was a teenager. So I did a couple of years of high school in there, went to university, did engineering, met my guru after 2 years of being in engineering school, wanted to leave and join his monastery. he didn't allow me. He wanted me to finish my degree.
How do you meet a guru? I'm sure there's not like an online site, meet your guru, but how do you actually meet him?
On Twitter, just like everybody else. No, there was no Twitter back then. He actually found me. He was visiting Australia and was visiting Perth, where I was living in Western Australia. And my family coincidentally knew his guru really well, because his guru lived in northern Sri Lanka in a town called Jaffna, and were all disciples of his teacher. So we went to meet him, and it really was love at first sight. And when I saw him, we met each other, we just connected, and he was there for less than 24 hours, and we built a strong friendship. And it was almost as if two old friends were meeting each other again. And
again, some past life stuff.
Exactly, right. I mean, there's some people that you've known your whole life, your cousin, right, for example. You might have known for 40 years that you're not even close with. And then there's a stranger that you meet, and within 2 hours, you feel like you've known them your whole life, and you feel super close to them. It was like that with him. As soon as we met, we were just so connected.
Okay, I did a little research on him. He seemed like a really charismatic guy.
Really amazing individual, quite a story. And just to give you a quick 1 minute insight into his life. So he was born in Lake Tahoe in Northern California in 1927. He was orphaned when he was quite young. His dad died when he was about 8 or 9. His mother died first, and then a year or so later his father passed away, and he was adopted by a close friend of the family at 10 years old, and she asked him, what do you want to do in life? And he said, I want to dance. So at 10 years old, he was very clear what he wanted, and so he started learning dance, and the people that trained him in dance were mystics from Europe. So not only did they teach him how to dance, but they also taught him how the mind works, how the body works, how his nervous system works, and how energy flows through his nervous system. And so he had amazing mystical training at such an early age in the 1930s. And then by 16, 17 years old, he was the premier dancer for the San Francisco Ballet Company. He was the best ballet dancer in America at that time. Decided to quit at the peak of his career when he was about 18 years old, 18 or 19. Jumped on the first ship to sail from San Francisco, from America to India after World War II. Took 3 months to get there. Made his way to Sri Lanka, studied with a few mystics around there, and then finally gave away all his belongings and possessions, went into these caves in these mountains in the jungles in southern Sri Lanka, and promised himself he would fast and meditate till he attained enlightenment. This was a 20-year-old American boy in the late 1940s, very brave, and then ended up becoming one of Hinduism's foremost spiritual leaders.
Wow. That's
Met his guru in Sri Lanka, who brought him into the Hindu faith, initiated him as a Hindu monk, and sent him back to America to bring Hinduism to the West. And so he established the first Hindu temple in America and brought yoga and meditation and the Hindu teachings to the West. And yeah, so led a pretty dynamic life till he died in 2001. Yeah, very blessed to have known him, and I actually lived with him and studied with him. Probably, I would say, the greatest years of my life. And I don't think anything would ever top that.
Right, so you finally found the guru that was going to keep you motivated more than 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, and I really wasn't looking for motivation, Brian. I was really looking for tools. Because people always ask me, are you a motivational speaker? And right away off the bat, I say, no, I don't motivate people. What I do is share with them tools, and I share with them a process and how to define a goal. Because once you have a process and you have a goal and you have tools, then you can apply it in your life and you can lean on your own spine. And my guru always used to say to the monks, don't lean on me, lean on your own spine. Because if you lean on me and I go away, you'll fall down. So lean on your own spine. And he gave us tools and he gave us a process and he showed us how to apply the tools in our life so that we can solve our own problems and solve our own challenges and make progress in our growth. And a lot of people in my industry who do self-development and coaching don't do that, because it's not a good business model. A good business model is where you have somebody coming back to you again and you create recurring revenue. So you don't solve their problems and you inspire them because you know their inspiration will go after a few weeks and they'll come back and buy more. It's a drug.
Right.
It's a good business model though.
Okay.
You make a lot of money from it.
and you're trying to provide real tools
yes.
that can make change. And these are the things you've learned by being in the monastery for 10 years.
Exactly. I don't want people coming back to me. I want them to solve their own problems.
Right.
Figure out their life and use the tools in their life to create what they want. But a lot of people don't do that. And I finally found a teacher that could do that for me. And I'm so grateful.
And so you meet him in Perth. You were 2 years into your degree, but you didn't join him then. You finished your degree.
Painfully, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
On his insistence or your parents?
On
Or?
his.
On his.
On his instance.
Okay.
So as soon as I graduated, well, I didn't even wait for my graduation ceremony. I found out that I passed my last exam, bought my ticket, flew to Hawaii, and left it all behind.
How old are you?
23, 24, I would say.
Okay.
And it was a traditional Hindu monastery. And what does that actually mean? It means that when you actually go to a monastery, you leave everything behind. So you leave your family, your friends, your relatives, all your possessions. Gave away all my CDs. We had CDs back then. Any money in the bank, you'd have to take it out, give it away. So you basically burn the bridge behind you. You don't leave any safety net that you can go home to just in case monk life doesn't work out. And I spoke to my family maybe twice a year on the phone. Never spoke to any of my relatives or friends again.
Wow.
So it was a real renunciation, and people don't realize what that actually involves.
And why do that? What is the logic behind closing yourself off? You stay on the compound for 10 years?
You do. Sometimes we travel. We travel to other monasteries. My guru would get invited to go speak at certain places, and he would take a couple of monks with him. So every now and then we would leave and travel.
Okay, but
go into town and buy supplies.
Okay, but for 10 years you're not seeing family or friends or anyone. So
No.
it really is a new life.
Yeah, and you live in a cloistered monastery, and it's like almost someone hit the restart button.
Right.
And
which is the idea. Now that's engineered for what to happen? Like, what is the thought behind the existence of a monastery?
Well, thank you for asking that question. Nobody ever asked me that before. Okay. The whole reason behind it, and I can only speak for Hindu monasteries, right? Every faith has monks, and they all have different philosophies and different beliefs. But in Hinduism, the whole purpose of monastic life and that staying away from family and friends and material things, it's about conservation of energy. So we believe that energy is always flowing out of us to people and things around us. And one of the ways to get to enlightenment is to first stop the loss of energy. Then you harness that energy from going out of you, you withdraw it into you, you concentrate, and you channel that energy up your spine, into your head, to awaken higher states of consciousness. But in order to do that, you need to conserve as much energy as possible. The more people you have in your life, the more things you have in your life, the more energy you expand. It's almost like if you take a space shuttle that wants to go into space, what's it strapped onto? A rocket, right? Which is filled with fuel. But as soon as it gets past the Earth's atmosphere, what happens? It releases the rockets fall away, and the shuttle just keeps going. And you could almost say what you're trying to do is take your awareness and move it up your spine, into your head, into deeper states of consciousness. And to be able to do that, you need tremendous amount of energy. And that's why monks have very few possessions, few people in their life, and they practice celibacy as well. So celibacy is really about conservation of energy. At least in Hinduism, we don't look at sex as a bad thing. I mean, after all, we wrote the Kama Sutra, so we even have a manual for doing it right.
Right.
But it was all about conservation of energy. Right. So celibacy, minimizing material possessions, minimizing the number of people in your life. So a lot of times you hear people say that material things are bad. We didn't believe so. Every monk that joined a monastery got a set of robes, a set of beads, earrings, and a MacBook Pro.
The MacBook Pro.
Exactly. Every monk was issued a Mac. So we didn't believe that material things were bad. We believed that the simplification of it. Keep a few things that you really need and a few things that you want, and live your life that way.
Okay.
And it's all about preventing the loss of energy.
Okay. So you join the monastery.
Yeah.
What is that? What are those first few days, right? Like the first few months and then the first year or two? I'm guessing you're super excited. You're 23, 24 years old.
Yep.
I'm going to Hawaii. I'm going to dive in. I got this guru.
I can levitate,
Walk
through walls.
You're wondering when you can start doing these things, right?
Exactly.
Do you still remember what those first few months are like? Is there monk hazing going on? I mean, is it?
Totally.
There is.
Yeah, because you go in and you're excited. Because everything you know about monastic life, it's what you've read in books, what you've seen in Hollywood movies. You watched a few episodes of Kung Fu with David Carradine, and you're going like, this is what monks do.
Right, the candles, the rice paper.
Totally walking slowly, sweeping the sidewalks, talking in this very soft, gentle voice, right? And it's nothing like that at all. And you go in and you're excited, and then the reality sets in. After a few months, after a year, you realize that this is going to be the rest of your life. You're going to be living in a cloistered monastery, leading a celibate life away from family, friends, and everything you know. The simple things of like food and drinks that you're accustomed to, chocolate and fruits, so your favorite dishes, your favorite drinks, just going to the beach, the things that you just want to do or been used to doing for the first quarter century of your life, you don't get to do anymore. And then that reality sets in, and it's quite painful because the subconscious needs to adjust, because the first 23 years of your life, it's grown up thinking a certain way, accustomed to a certain way of life. That you can go to your kitchen and open the fridge and just like have access to all kinds of food that you want. Just reach in and grab something, walk down the street, feel like a cup of coffee, walk into Starbucks and just grab something. No, you can't. And everything inside of you needs to adjust to a different way of life, and that's quite painful.
And there's no rice paper and candles and martial arts. What is the day-to-day like?
In our monastery, we had to be in the temple by 5:30 in the morning, so you could wake up at any time. Some monks woke up at 5, some at 4:45. I used to get up between 4 and 4:15 in the morning, get up, take a shower, I'd do some practices on my own in my little hut. I lived in a 10 foot by 10 foot by 10 foot tall square hut in the forest. And 5:30 we'd come to the temple, we'd have a ceremony together for about half an hour, then we meditated as a group for 1 hour. And people often think that monks meditated all day. We did not. Then we exercised from 7 to 7:30 for half an hour a day, which we were encouraged to do. Then we had breakfast, and then the monastery broke up. The monks broke up into 5 groups. There were 5 departments. One looked after the graphic design and web development. One looked after the finance and the endowments and paying the bills. One looked after the church congregation. One looked after the land. And we all went to work. So we worked till 12:30. 12:30 to 1, we were each assigned a place in the monastery to clean. So some cleaned the toilets, the pathways, the rooms. 1 to 1:30 was lunch. 1:30 to 3, we took a little nap, a little siesta. And then 3 to 6, we went back to work again in our respective departments. And then 6 to 7 was the free time. You could do whatever you want. Some monks exercised, some did carpentry. And then 7 to 9, we watched TV. And then at 9, we went to bed.
You know the schedule like the back of your hand.
Oh, did it for 10 years.
10 years.
And my schedule was a little bit different after 3.5 years. After my guru died, I took on a little bit more of an intense schedule. Our temple in the monastery had a 24-hour vigil system. So every 3 hours, there was a monk on duty in the temple. And this has been going on for about 46 years now. The monk was in the temple worshiping, doing chants, meditating, yoga. And it was really a shift. And my shift was from midnight to 3 a.m. So I would go to bed about 8:30 at night, wake up at 11:30, come in from my hut, shower, change, get dressed up like this, be in the temple by midnight. It couldn't be a second late. If not, I had to do another 3 hours. Be awake from midnight to 3 a.m. doing my spiritual practices, and then go to bed again by 3:30, wake up at 7:30 the next morning and go on with my day.
Okay, so you're holding a constant vigil in honor of him dying, or there was always a vigil?
It was always there.
Okay,
yeah.
So you took that on.
Yeah, and I did that for about 6.5 years, which was pretty intense.
Is that exhausting?
It was. And actually me and another monk did it, and so we did it. I did it for a month, then he did it for a month, and then we switched on and off. But waking up at 11:30 at night, for 6.5 years and going in, doing practices from midnight to 3 a.m. was probably one of the most intense things I've ever done.
Okay.
Because that's the time when you want to sleep the most.
Right.
Yeah.
And all of this makes you start to examine yourself, right? Because you
Yes.
go inside because there's not this artificial stimulus that we're so used to. So I'm having a hard day, I get on Twitter, I'm a little bit depressed, I get a Starbucks coffee, I do this, I can, call up a friend of mine and have a quick chat. So the rest of us are kind of putting these artificial stimuli.
I call them like patches, really.
Patches, okay. Okay.
Because if you're not feeling well, what do? You go online, right? You look at people standing at the bus stop for 10 minutes waiting for the bus. They get uncomfortable with being with themselves, they pull out the phone and they start engaging with something. Because to actually be with you is probably one of the most challenging things you can face in life. And the whole purpose of the monastery is to strip everything and everyone away from a person, and they're only left with themselves. You give them 2 sets of robes, put them in a little hut, and you go like, here, live with yourself. And it becomes extremely painful because there's no escape.
Talk to me about that pain.
There's no patch, right?
Right.
There's no Starbucks coffee, there's no food. We have 3 meals a day, no snacking in between. And you don't even eat your favorite foods, you just eat what's served to you. So where's the escape? There's no escape.
Right. And so what did you start to learn about yourself?
Everything. You see all the beautiful things about yourself and you see all the ugly things about yourself. And the way to survive right off the bat is to learn to accept you for who you are. And if you don't accept yourself for who you are, you will never make it in the monastery. You just really have to put 2 arms around yourself and go, this is me. Accepting doesn't mean condoning. It's just acknowledging that this is where you are right now. You're made up of good things and not so good things, and it's okay. And I always looked at myself as a building under construction. There's still work going on, there's scaffolding, there's tools lying around, the nails, but it's a work in progress. And that's the first thing you have to do as a monk, is accept yourself for who you are. Because as soon as you go in, you're going to see everything. And if you don't accept yourself for who you are, you'll want to leave.
Can you talk to other monks about this stuff?
We were encouraged to talk only to our guru and not other monks, because they were all going through the same thing. And they were all going through their own journey.
Can you feel their energy? Like, can you feel some people are struggling with themselves or having a hard day, or maybe some guys have a couple of bad years?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, because if you only have the guru to talk to, I mean, it seems like you could get stuck.
Well, every now and then we would chat with each other, but we were encouraged really to talk only to the guru. Because you don't really want one monk dumping his problems on another monk who's going through his own stuff.
Nobody wants to see that.
No,
right?
Nobody wants to see that.
Okay.
Exactly, depressed monk. I mean, it's like terrible.
And what would some of the things that your guru said to you, do you remember, like, to kind of, I don't know, counsel you at these times?
He always defaulted back to, are you doing your practices every day? And my answer, whenever I went to see him, was always no. I'd fallen behind in my practices. And then I would just get up and leave. What else was there to talk about?
So he put it right back on you.
He put it right back on me, and that's what I loved about him. And I met so many teachers along the way who want to solve your problems, who want to fix you, who are like almost a messiah figure that can wave a wand and like fix you. And he always put it back on me, and that's what I loved about him, because that's ultimately at the end of the day what I wanted. I want to be in charge of my life. I want to be in charge of my future. I want to be in charge of how I feel and my own happiness. And he put it back on me, and he gave me tools.
What were the practices that he wanted you to do every day?
Well, it's almost like going to see a doctor, right? There's just no one medicine for one ailment. So depending on what I was going through, he dished out the right medicine. He might give me certain practices to do, whether it was meditation or process of accepting myself for who I am, working with my subconscious mind, dealing with my past. And he would give particular tools. And he would say, like, okay, I want you to go do this every day for an hour. And then I'd do it for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month, and then I might stop doing it. And then problems would arise, and then I go see him and I'll tell him, got a problem coming up. And he goes like, are you still doing your practice? And I go like, oh no, I stopped last week. Oh, what do you want from me?
Get back to work.
Yeah, well, I mean, if I go see a doctor and he gives me pills, and I take it for 2 weeks, and then I stop taking them, and then I have symptoms again, and then I go see the doctor and I go like, symptoms came back, are you taking your pills? No, I'm not. I'm like, well, what do you want me to do? Shove them down your mouth? Go take the pills.
I think when we were having dinner in Napa, you said to someone, like, we were taught how to do so many basic things that sometimes humans aren't taught. Like, we were taught how to focus, or taught how to go to sleep. I think you might have said one time when we were having dinner.
Good memory.
Like, yeah, thank you. Because I remember you said that. Now you're like, we've never been taught how to go to sleep.
Yeah, we were taught how to go to sleep. We were taught how to wake up. We were taught what to do when we slept. Like during the sleep period, what do you actually do? Do you just sleep? We were taught how to be awake. We were trained how to meet up in the dream world and study together and continue to educate ourselves. We were taught how to breathe, how to eat, how to shower, all kinds of things. We're just born into this world, and people say like, here, learn your nursery rhymes, learn your ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, go to school, learn geography, learn history, science, the periodic table. Why? When are you ever going to use the periodic table again? But simple things of like basic life human skills, we never get taught. Who teaches you how to go to sleep? How many people out there struggle to go to sleep?
Me.
Millions, right? Because they assume everybody knows how to go to sleep.
How do you go to sleep?
How do I go to sleep? Without any problem.
Did you have a process that they talked about? That you do this.
There are, and it's a simple process. You lay on your back with your hands by your side, your palms facing upward. You visualize your nervous system, and you visualize all your energy coming into your nervous system and flowing from different limbs into your spine. So imagine all the energy in your leg, your left leg, being absorbed into the nervous system, flowing up the nervous system into your spine. And then the same thing with your right leg, your left arm, upper torso, and your right side of your upper torso and your arm here, pulling into your spine, and your whole body goes to sleep. Because when you relax your nervous system, you relax your muscles. And when you relax your muscles, the whole arm goes limp.
And this was a teaching that you learned in the monastery?
Yeah, and then you just fall asleep. And the next thing you know, it's time to wake up and you've had great sleep. Because my guru wanted well-rested monks that could help him fulfill his mission. So in order to do that, he needed to make sure that when they slept, their batteries got charged to 100%, not 75%. How terrible is it when you wake up in the morning and your smartphone's only got 30% of battery life, and you go, oh, should have charged it, right? Because you want to wake up and you want 100% on your phone, not 30%. So most people go to sleep and wake up with like 60% of battery in their life. And for me, my goal is to go to sleep, be fully rested, and wake up with 100% of energy so that I can go and have a dynamic day and do things that I want to do.
Okay. And eating, taught you how to eat as well?
Yes.
Can you?
How to focus on eating, how much to eat. We had a rule in the monastery that your first serving should fit in both hands. Okay. If you're still hungry, go back, whatever fits in one hand.
One hand.
So hopefully you don't have two big hands. But
it's a simple rule like that.
Simple rule,
and
right?
Do you eat slowly? Do you visualize the food? Do you think about these things?
You eat slowly. You chew your food properly. When we had lunch, we sat together and had lunch. We weren't watching TV. We weren't doing anything else. We weren't reading a book. We just focused on eating.
Okay.
And enjoying our food.
I had some scrambled eggs before you got here, and I was eating them, and I was eating them fast because I was getting ready for you, and I was like, I bet Dandapani would be like, Brian, enjoy your eggs. Think about your eggs. Think about where they came from. You know?
And then my guru would say similar things like, enjoy your food, it nourishes you, and take time and actually enjoy eating it.
The meditation was an hour a day, which most people thought you might be meditating 12 hours a day. But you said before that you were preparing for that meditation the entire day.
Exactly.
Can you explain how that?
Yeah, and this is the concept people don't get, right? People think that the more you meditate, the better it is. So 20 minutes of meditation is not as great as 3 hours of meditation. And it's actually not how we work. For us, we believed in quality as opposed to quantity. We spent the whole day preparing to meditate. So in Hindu philosophy, what comes before meditation? Concentration. Concentration comes before meditation. So you need to learn how to concentrate in order to meditate. And we believe that you can't meditate if you can't concentrate. So we spent the whole day focusing on concentration. So when I spoke with someone in the monastery, I spoke with another monk, I gave them my undivided attention. When I worked on my laptop, I focused on working on my laptop. When I swept the sidewalk, I focused on sweeping the sidewalk. So throughout the day, I'm practicing concentration. Now when I go to sit down to meditate, I'm really focused and I can have a dynamic meditation session. And I always use the simple analogy of, take Usain Bolt, for example, the sprinter, right? I don't know much about him except he won 3 gold medals, fastest man on earth from Jamaica. I can make an assumption and tell me if I'm wrong that his whole day is structured, that he eats the right kinds of food and drinks the right amount of water. He goes to the gym. If you look at the boy, he's ripped, right? Probably works out, runs every day, I'm sure, sprints, does all kinds of things. But his whole day is preparing him for 9.57 seconds or whatever it is his world record is, not the other way around. And people come up to me all the time, Brian, and they say, Dandapani, I'm so stressed out. I've got so much happening in my life. Do you think if I meditate for 5 minutes in the morning, it'll help my whole day? I'm going like, well, what are you doing the remaining 23 hours and 55 minutes? That's what I want to know. Because if you try to meditate for 5 minutes in the morning and the rest of the day you just live a chaotic life, that's not yeah, it's a good start, but it's not really helping you. It's like eating a carrot in the morning and then eating hamburgers and fries all day and hoping to have a healthy diet. You have to understand that your whole day, your lifestyle is what's going to support your meditation practice at the start. And then your meditation practice grows, and then it turns around and supports your lifestyle.
Right.
But not the other way around. You don't create a meditation practice to support your lifestyle. You create a lifestyle first, meditation second. Then meditation affects the lifestyle, not the other way around. And everybody in the West has got it backwards.
And what should we be doing with our lifestyle to make it to where it's maybe more meditation friendly?
Well, a couple of things. I would say one is simplify your life. Everybody's so busy. Everybody's got a lot of things to do. We don't actually have a lot of things to do.
Right. We like being distracted because then we don't have to think about ourselves.
And we don't have priorities in life. Most people don't have clear priorities in life. You know, for me, my goal is to simplify my life, simplify the number of people in my life, and simplify the number of things in my life. We only have a finite amount of energy each day, right? But every year, we have more people in our lives. Is that a fair statement? More Facebook friends, more people you're connected with, but your energy stays the same. So that's not a proportionate growth. If your energy is increasing every year proportionately with the number of things and people in your life, then we don't have to talk about this. But your energy level is the same. But the amount of people and things in your life are growing almost exponentially. So that doesn't work. So for me, it's always about simplifying first the people and things into your life, into who and what's most important, taking that finite energy that you have each day and focusing. Second step is learning how to focus and concentrate that finite amount of energy into the people and things that truly matter. Now you start to create a lifestyle that you actually love because you invested into people and things that matter. And the byproduct of that is happiness.
And you said happiness is not a goal. Is that correct?
Yes, happiness is not a goal. And if you ask most people, what do you want in life? They say, I want to be happy. Right? Would that be a fair statement? I mean, literally,
it's in the U.S. Constitution, I think, the pursuit of happiness.
The pursuit of happiness. Right. I always say you should never pursue happiness. Don't pursue happiness. Pursue a lifestyle where the byproduct of that lifestyle is happiness. So happiness comes as a byproduct. I spend time with the people that I love. What is my byproduct? I'm happy. I spend time with people I don't like. I'm not happy. So don't pursue happiness. Pursue a lifestyle that gives happiness. But in order to pursue that lifestyle, you need to be clear what you want in life. What's your purpose in life? And people don't know this because they don't spend any time with themselves.
You said, you remarked, I think one time you sat down with a bunch of entrepreneurs, and we'll get to later where you went after the monastery, because now you travel the world speaking with, high caliber entrepreneurs. And you asked them what's their purpose in life, and nobody could answer. Although I'm sure they could give you their business model like the back of their hand, but they couldn't tell you their purpose, right?
No. I remember a few years ago, I was in Australia and spoke at an event with some very, very successful entrepreneurs, and they took me out to dinner afterwards, and there was 4 guys and 2 ladies and 2 wives, and everybody else had left, and we had dinner. It was like 12:30 in the morning, maybe our 3rd or 4th glass of wine. And I asked everyone at the table.
You drink wine now?
Sorry?
You drink wine now?
I do. Actually, I had my first glass of alcohol in the monastery.
Oh.
I never touched alcohol at all until I joined the monastery. And we brewed our own beer in the monastery. Okay. Monks invented beer. I don't know if you know that or not.
No, what's it? What is? Oh, they invented beer, right? And champagne, right? Or
probably,
Okay, so you went to the monastery and started drinking. Okay.
Went to the monastery, started drinking. And so I was having wine with these entrepreneurs, and I asked them, I think it was like 12:30 in the morning, I asked just everyone at the table, what's your purpose in life? Nobody could answer. 2 people said, I don't know. 2 guys rambled on for 5 minutes, which meant they had no idea. One lady had no, one of the wives said, I don't know. The other wife started talking, and then she broke down and attacked her husband. There you go. Simple question. What's your purpose in life? No idea. What color is your tie, Brian?
I think it's red.
It's red, right? I mean, not very difficult to answer. But people don't know because they never spend any time with themselves. I always say, people make time for everything and everyone else in their life, but they never make time for themselves. If you go up to someone who you know and say, like, would you like to catch up for coffee? Let's do coffee. They're like, oh, I can't this week, but I can next week. How about Thursday, 7 p.m.? Perfect. I'll see you at this place. When was the last time someone is willing to take time out of their life to spend time with themselves? So if I wanted to get to know you, and we've had one dinner and we had a great conversation, we're spending time here. If I wanted to get to know you, I would have to spend time with you. We'd have to meet up for coffee, a glass of wine. If I really want to get to know you, maybe we meet up once a week. Every Friday night, we go out for a glass of wine. We chat for a couple of hours. After a year, I'd get to know you really well. You'd get to know me really well. But it requires me spending time with you. So if you want to get to know yourself, you need to spend time with yourself. But in a way that you can inquire, right? So people say to me things like, oh, I walk my dog in the park, that's my time with myself. And you're like, no, it's not. That's you walking the dog. People go like, oh, I go for a jog, that's my alone time. No, that's you jogging, avoiding traffic, watching where you're stepping so you don't trip and fall over. Spending time with yourself is sitting down, closing your eyes, not interacting with the outside world, and actually going inside and having that conversation, the same conversation I would have with you and say like, hey, Brian, so where did you grow up? You said California, do you like to surf? No? Hate the water, love the water? Tell me, right? And people don't have that conversation, and because they don't have that conversation with themselves, they don't end up knowing what they want in life. Because they don't know what they want in life, they can't focus that finite amount of energy. And then they don't live a lifestyle that brings them happiness. And most people end up being unhappy as a byproduct.
And so what is the tool that you suggest people use to start? Is it that focused meditation? Is it just being with themselves alone, asking questions? Continue watching this fascinating conversation for free by clicking on the link below to visit our website, and I'll see you on the inside.
Most people will never see this opportunity. Dubai luxury transformation projects have historically delivered 40 to 90% annual returns. That is incredible. These were once reserved only for insiders with access. I spent 15 years on Wall Street, and I learned this: the biggest returns always go to the people who get the call first. Now, you finally can. We've just received a brand new project with major upside potential. Allocations move fast. Click the link, apply now, and speak to my team. This is your chance to see what others never will.